I'm Lenora Bresler, and welcome to the April 21st, 2017 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. In the run-up to Easter last week, we were focusing, of course, on seeing Christ in the Passover and understanding how Christ instituted communion within the context of that meal. And so we left out talking about some other of the details of the Easter story. And the next couple days, I want to talk about the betrayal by Judas Iscariot, and also what happened with Pilate. Now, we are told that Judas Iscariot betrayed Christ for 30 pieces of silver. Now, first of all, the Old Testament had prophesied that the Messiah would be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. What is the worth of the Messiah? And 30 pieces of silver was prophesied. Now, what's fascinating about that is that in the currency of the day, and also in the Bible, you can see it as well in the Old Testament, the amount of money ascribed to the lowest level of a slave was 30 pieces of silver. Now, slavery, frankly. Some slaves had more rights, you might say, than others. But the lowest level was the level that was ascribed at 30 pieces of silver. This slave had no rights whatsoever and had to do exactly and always what the master required. They were complete chattel. Now, the reason this is significant is sometimes I think we need to get real. We need to be very honest with ourselves about what we expect of God. And unfortunately, I think a lot of us really want God to be our slave. We want God to be our ATM machine. We want God to be our genie. We give the orders, we tell him what we want, and we want him to bless that in our time, in our manner. And we get angry, we get frustrated, and sometimes we can have bad feelings about God when he does not perform according to what we want him to do. And sometimes I think we need to be very blunt and candid with ourselves and realize that basically we're wanting him to be our slave, to do our bidding. And it's fascinating that when Christ was betrayed, he was betrayed for the same amount of money. He was valued the value of that kind of a slave. And I'm here to tell you something, and many of us can testify to this. God will not be treated like that. And if you do that for very long, you're going to get some pushback from God, and he's going to show you who's in control. So don't make that mistake. Don't make the mistake of assuming that God has a duty to bless your projects and your intention to. You need to be asking him, Lord, what do you want me to do? And then bless that. Not decide ahead of time without his approval and without his participation, and then say, oh, and so God, you go ahead and bless that. He's not our genie, and he is certainly not our slave. Now, the other detail that's very important in that story is when Pilate offered to release a prisoner. This was apparently a custom of the Romans to one of their, frankly, subjugated people, the Israelites, that he would release somebody for the people as a nice gesture for their festival of Passover. Now, we know that they cried out for Barabbas, who apparently was a zealot. There's indications from extra-biblical sources that perhaps he had led a rebellion. He was probably a little more than a common thief, because a common thief would not have been so well known. The name would not have been known to the crowd. So what's fascinating, though, is that the actual name Barabbas in Hebrew means son of the father. Bar means son. And Abba, as you know, is the form of father, meaning daddy, son of daddy. And it's ironic that mankind would want the fake, so to speak, son of the Father rather than the real son of God the Father. Everything that has to do with Jesus, y'all, every detail means something and tells us something. Let us be sure that we never want something that's not real. We want a relationship with the one and true Son of God. Do not settle for anything less than, as Coca-Cola would say, the real thing. because the real thing is always, always worthy. I'm Lenora Bresler. Visit me tomorrow on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Have a great Friday, my friends.